full effect, 3D. The budget is a humming. All right, Daddy is feeling good today. I don't got much to talk about, so I guess we're done. It's a quick episode. Let's go home. No, we can't do that. We can't do that until Mike lets me go. All right, here we go. Mike Anderson, Mike buddy. Mike.
There we are, once again, gathered together here today to celebrate another week.
I thought you were just gonna say a thing called life.
Yeah,
A little Prince action.
crazy. Yeah. So it all leads to Purple Rain.
All roads lead back to Prince.
Ultimately, it comes back to the Purple Rain. Okay, so you know what I saw?
Okay.
It was like today or yesterday.
We're going right in.
You had texted me about it, and what else are we gonna do? Sit
I don't know,
make
banter.
faces? You gonna sit here and make
Well, this
faces?
is banter.
This is banter.
We're
What the fuck are
bantering.
you talking about?
Banter on.
What show are you watching?
I don't know. I'm watching the banter show.
All right. Like yesterday or this morning or something, I don't know when. Days all blend together.
Sure.
You texted me about new Fantastic Four trailer.
Ah, yeah, that was today.
Was it today? Okay, so I went and I saw it. I saw it on the YouTube.
Yeah.
It finally popped up on one of the refreshes. Or whatever.
Sure.
My YouTube got weird the other day. I went in and I'm signed in. The usual thing.
Sure.
And I go to the homepage and there's nothing there. And they're like, look up a video so we can start making an algorithm. I'm like, what? It was nuts.
Wow, they zeroed your algo.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I was like, what
I wonder
happened?
what life would be with a zeroed out algo to start over. To do it with no boobies, without no politics, without no,
I mean,
have a pure algo.
Well, it's not a big mystery. Just make a new Google account, make a new Gmail account.
Yeah, because all roads, I know. I feel like my algo always ends up in politics or boobs.
Oh my God! All right. Speaking of which,
Okay.
all right. You know how people do social media?
Oh, that darn pesky thing. Oh, you know when people do social media, that thing with the X's and O's?
All right. So you've heard of it?
Sure. Once or twice.
I don't do social media. I'm hashtag not on social media.
Yeah, you're out of it. Yeah, you've avoided the tsunami.
It is not good for me. All right. And here's why. Even to a fucking low degree. Here's how bad I get. Doom scrolling. Familiar with the term?
Sure, I'm familiar with it. I hope they are. Doom scrolling, you're just scroll, refresh, scroll, refresh.
Because you're looking for that dopamine hit of coming across something that you like.
Right.
Right? So it's the doom scrolling.
Yeah.
I did that for fucking hours the other day.
What were you on? Were you on Facebook or were you on Instagram? Where were you at?
Reverb listings.
Oh, Reverb.
Music gear.
If you don't know what Reverb is a musical, it's kind of like eBay for musical items.
Yeah.
It's like a sales funnel for, that's usually where us musicians would look for guitars,
Dude,
I've caught in that rabbit hole.
I get stuck in it like hours.
Yeah.
Like I lose hours just fucking looking at shit. Like, look at that. Like, what's that? Nope.
Oh, I know.
Like, literally, it got to the point where I'm like, all right, the next time I see a Tom DeLonge surf foam green Stratocaster, I'm out.
Did it pop up?
Oh my God! Within the next page.
Mine knows me, so mine will be like, oh, 5-string Yamahas. Oh, here's your Spectre Euro. Oh, here's your recording gear. So it's like my algo picked up on what I like.
Mine
so I'm not seeing drum shit.
Mine's too dumb. It doesn't have any algorithm. I don't think I'm signed into Reverb. I'm not signed into an account or anything like that. No, I'm just going on a page. I got my things that I search for. Like I search up my bass, my 5-string bass, just to see what's up on it, because it's rare. Like to find exactly like my bass is like.
Yeah, I have a couple things that I periodically check on, because I have some old instruments that are my daydream buy. You know what I mean? So I always keep an eye on. And that gives me a barometer of where the market's at. Is one available? There it is, $6,000 in Japan if I'm in the neighborhood.
100%.
Right, but at least I know they're around.
Yeah, remember I was looking at. My first electric guitar was a black Les Paul style Aria Pro 2, right? And remember I was looking at those last year or something like that?
Yeah, you sent me a link to one. It was all right.
Yeah, I was looking at them for because once again, to find the actual one that I like, or not the one I like, the one that I had, because it had a certain style of knobs, I remember, and the tuning pegs were, silver, chrome tuning pegs.
Sure.
Not the green key tuning pegs, sort of thing. So to find that one in the needle of the haystack of the Aria Pro 2 Les Paul copies, it's hard to come by.
Sure.
So I had found one for $500, you know, back then. Can't find it now. The one I find now is $750 plus $167 shipping coming from Japan.
Japan. That's actually cheap coming from Japan, but now, well, tariffs. But I mean, even if there were no tariffs, okay, let's just say that's actually not bad considering it's coming all the way from, you know, Okinawa.
Definitely more than I want to pay for a guitar that I don't need.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my 6-string Schecter. That's all I need for a 6-string electric. You know, other than that, you know, I got the Strat for the single coil, I got the 8-string for the metal.
Yeah.
I got basses.
I feel like yeah, whenever I find something like I go, ooh, there's that Yamaha BB3000 I want. It's in Japan. It's almost like Japan has a way of preserving American history in a weird way. Like the collectors are there and they're like, all right, this baby.
They're way into it.
Yeah.
You ever watch that Ola England? I was watching, you know, every Sunday with Ola, Swola. So he was somewhere on tour. I think he was over in Japan or something like that, and he went to some guitar stores in Japan.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
It was interesting.
I always think, though, I would love to, from a guitar nerd boner, and go there and have fun. But what if you find something you like? Do I gotta have it shipped out of there, or how would I? You know, because you can't fly with it. You know,
you can. I have.
Yeah, I don't want to fly.
I flew with the guitar once. It's sort of a pain. It's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I never did. I never would. I never traveled with musical instruments. Every time I've done things like when I go down south, you just get a hold of local musicians around there and just be like, hey man, can I borrow your blah blah blah, you know? And if not, you go to a music store and say, hey, you know, this is why, you know?
Yeah.
Now I would never borrow like an 810 cabinet or something. That seems like a little much, but I mean. But
then again, that sort of situation. I mean, how many times was it just backlining at gigs? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It'd be like, all right, give me a Maxi Strat. And,
use the cabinets, use the drums. Yeah. The drummer brings his own cymbals, snare, and pedals.
It's easy fix.
Like the bass player, just. I mean, there were gigs that I did where like we were like headlining like the Hatebox stuff, and we were backline. Just everybody just used my amp. Everybody like, can I just use your amp? It's much better than mine. I'm like, all right, cool, fine.
I hate it when people use my amp though.
Well, I told them not to touch the knobs.
Yeah, I used to say.
I'm like, you can plug into it, play through it, but your tone's got to be on your bass. You can't. You touch a fucking knob, like you're done. I'm pulling the power.
Well, on the Galleon, I had a Galleon Kruger amp, and I pressed the -10 button, 10 dB. So then that way they couldn't blow my speaker. I can't hear it. I'm turning it up. You know, I mean, I'm pressing the -10 button and stay away from my effects pedal board.
Yeah, that's just the pad. You know. But yeah. But anyway, all right. That's probably digressing too much for.
We're getting there. Right. Yeah, that's for musicians
but anyway,
only.
But this is my point. The doom scrolling that people get into with the social media. I can't do the social media because I get into doom scrolling on fucking Reverb. So.
Yeah.
The social media stuff is just Oh, you know what? I did end up getting sucked into it on LinkedIn, right?
Oh.
I'm in the job market and whatever, and I ended up getting sucked into logging into LinkedIn, which I had to turn off their notifications. They were fucking bugging me about nonsense.
I'll tell you my LinkedIn story. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I ended up doom scrolling on fucking LinkedIn.
I got into a doom scroll there too.
85% of the shit on there is just goddamn sponsored ad bullshit.
Yeah, and how many of them are bots? Blah blah blah. Well, I went on a thing where I was like. I used to have an old LinkedIn that was kind of more musician driven from before I was a comedian. And so that one, I was like, oh, let me check out my old one. I checked in my old one and all these musicians were kind of like attached to me. So I'm like, first one I go to, and then I'm doom scrolling because I'm finding semi-famous people. And one was like, oh, Johnny Crow or Johnny Colt from the Black Crowes, the bass player from the Black Crowes. Well, let's see what he's up to. And I'm looking at his shit. Oh, wow, staying busy.
Oh, yeah.
And then I find the next celebrity, you know, it's like, and I'm finding all these semi-famous people that you go, all right, so I was doom scrolling celebrities on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And that was getting me.
So my little experience with social media was when we were doing the game show play that I wrote, and we were performing it like every month.
Yeah.
I was promoting it. So like literally the next day we'd wake up after doing a show, start promoting for the next show, which is 28 days away. And so on promoting it on the Instagram, I don't know much about social media, but I got onto somehow, I was following Royal Blood and Duran Duran. So it was sort of interesting.
Not bad, all right.
Yeah. it was sort of interesting with those guys because Duran Duran, they do shit like they would just put out posts. They'll be like, remember this, and it's like from a photo shoot that they did like 35 years ago that turned out to be like
people doing it. They probably have fan club people or wives. Or
I know, but it's still funny because they were around so long ago.
Oh yeah.
That just every day or once a week, or a couple times a week, they just put up some sort of photo or something from like way back, and you're like, holy shit!
Yeah,
I remember
our
shit.
Vogue magazine spread.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember when we're.
It would be just like John Taylor being like, remember this outfit? Remember this jacket with the giant shoulders? And you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, pandemic, man, John Taylor went on the YouTube. And he started breaking down all the bass parts and shit.
Yeah, he did some bass stuff. Yeah,
that was pretty dope. All right. Anyway, so I got digressed. So the Fantastic Four thing. I see the Fantastic Four fucking ad for the movie today. All right. So I wanted to ask you real quick. Growing up, you were a comic books kid, and I've asked you before.
Pre-metal days.
I'm like, yeah, as a kid, like before 10 and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I've said to you before, like, oh, what are you making the Batman? And you're all like, I don't do DC.
I never did
Marvel
DC.
guy.
Yeah, I was a Marvel guy, yeah.
So you were only Marvel guy. So I wanted to ask you, what is, because I'm not a comics book guy. So you being a Marvel guy, what is your take on the Fantastic Four as a concept, the movie that they're doing? You know, because like I've seen the previous incarnations of the Fantastic Four.
Sure.
I saw the one with Michael Chiklis.
He was
Jessica Alba. And then there was the more recent one with the kid from Whiplash.
Sure.
And
that's it. Yeah, he's in the new one.
And the Michael B. Jordan. You know, he was the fire kid.
You're right. All right.
So I've seen a couple of Fantastic Four movies.
I treat
but I'm not a comic
Fantastic
book
Four, and they did it this round. They kind of made it like 1950-ish.
Right. Which I think
and
is
when I
interesting.
read the comic book, it felt like that. So I almost saw it as like, you know, when you read like an old Captain America and like, oh, he's fighting Nazis. He's in World War II.
When we were growing up, it seems so stupid and out of place to me.
Yeah.
It seems so hokey.
Yeah, so I would do it
I was like,
as
has this
more
guy
like,
been fighting Nazis for 40 years?
Yeah, and in my dumb little kid head, I would think, oh, Fantastic Four, this seems older. You know, this seems a little older, and it's fine. I was cool with it. I was like, and they're probably old now. You know, because I was starting to get into like, New Mutants and X-Men. You know,
yeah, it definitely had sort of a mid-60s vibe. I mean, all that shit did. All that Doctor Strange shit, I guess, is from like 62 to 65 or something.
Yeah, and all that old Jack Kirby artwork, you know, and the way their brows looked, and it had that 1950s thick penmanship, and you know, so I was seeing it from an art point of view too. But then you're mixing in, okay, you got Galactus, and you got all the space things, and the scrolls, and you know, all right. It was getting a little out of control for my personal taste.
So you were reading the comic books.
I was reading it.
So like when you were a kid in the 70s, then did you go back and read the old Fantastic Four, or were you just keeping up with the current shit?
Oh, that one, no, because I didn't collect that one. But it would be like all of a sudden Spider-Man Secret Wars is tying into this run of 8 episodes of Fantastic Four, so I'd tune into that. Or my brother might have like a few old ones.
So you just sort of ancillarily bumped into it. Spider-Man's doing a
the tie-ins. Okay. And then if it wasn't a tie-in, then I would go, oh, okay, you know, I'm going to grab some old Fantastic Four out of the old bargain bin over there. They're all kind of crusty and smell weird, but, you know.
So if you're going through the bargain bin and you're coming across some old, you know, Marvel stuff,
yeah.
Who do you pick up? Do you go, Fantastic Four, I'll pick that up for a dime? Do you go like, you know,
I was a diehard Iron Man guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually had Iron Man #3, which was that was my big shiny jewel.
Was that one of the ones you sold to get your first base?
I sold my whole collection.
That's what I'm saying,
yeah. And in those days, in 1985, 86, I want to say I got like, and I think I got ripped off, but I sold my comic book collection for $450.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, something like that.
Yeah, and I bought my first base for $350. The other 100, I don't know what I did with.
Probably got an amp.
I don't know what I did, yeah. But
it's not like people were giving you amps.
Yeah, I don't remember. But
yeah, what was my first base?
Comic books.
Oh, it was that acoustic rig.
Yeah, I think I used that.
360 with that giant cabinet, because that was my first base rig
I sold
bought off you.
Yeah.
No. Was it the PVs? Were we doing the PV Mark IVs?
Yeah, no, I did the PV Mark IV. Yeah, I did the PV Mark IV head, and then for the base, yeah.
It's too deep for people, sorry.
Yeah, we're going to lose people if we start getting too in the weeds on music.
So Fantastic Four. So you were So would you go back and sort of pick up the old Fantastic Fours? And then
Yeah, and they were always in the zeitgeist. They were always kind of there. They were like a Doctor Strange comic book or that, or a Hulk or something like that, where I wouldn't collect it, but I'd be like aware of it. I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll take a, scan through it. Maybe.
So did you ever go back and read the old stuff or whatever? Like, okay, like with the Iron Man. You're a big Iron Man fan. Yeah. I know Iron Man had a whole big. I don't know when Iron Man started.
He started way back. Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. I just see the movies. Yeah. Like they do really good casting. It makes me care about the fucking characters. Because otherwise I don't. Like I knew Iron Man. I knew the Black Sabbath song before I knew the fucking Marvel
I was also
thing.
a Daredevil guy too, old Daredevil. See,
really?
But the old Iron Man stuff was kind of starting to get into like too fantastical.
What was the old Iron Man stuff that you sort of gravitated to and kind of were into? Was it the Demon in the Bottle stuff I've heard tell about?
Yeah, it was around that era.
Was it the Howard Stark, young Tony Stark stuff?
It was Tony Stark. He was he was like a swinger and a cool guy. It was kind of like what you'd see in, about that level.
And what I know is only what I've seen on like the making of behind the scenes of Iron Man or whatever.
But then Iron Man was one of those characters that would tie into the Avengers, tie into everything else. So then all of a sudden, by default, I was buying other things to keep this whole storyline.
Now, did they have the Iron Man going on and then they had the Avengers thing and it just went with it? Or was it from the first Iron Man, it was always he's an Avenger?
I don't remember. But the Avengers always seemed kind of more like a what if to me. It wasn't like the main storyline, like, oh, Spider-Man's doing a thing, or that might tie into that. But the Avengers to me was more like a what if. It was like a weird mashup. It wasn't really. I don't know. I don't remember it being that great.
Was it like a short run?
Yeah,
of
like, it felt like a side project. It felt like a side project. But then all of a sudden it started picking up steam, and then they had this big Secret Wars thing they did in the '80s. And the Endgame concept and the whole Thanos thing that you see in a movie was all played out.
Were they the first thing to sort of do like a super mashup where that's essentially what they're doing with Avengers. They're taking all these individual intellectual properties like the Hulk, Spider-Man, Tony Stark or whatever, and then they mush them all together into a thing.
Sure.
Which, much like the same way like that was really novel to do with the Marvel movies, what the Marvel Cinematic Universe did with it. Like that, is that sort of what they were doing with like those sort of things?
I didn't really care for that too much. See, I started getting out of comic books because everything was starting to get huge and big.
That's where they're losing me on the MCU.
Yeah.
With the Galactus and the space shit and the Eternals, I'm like.
And it's all this alternate galaxies and giant
coming out of the ocean. I'm like, I don't even get this anymore.
I was more into like Daredevil because it was like a neighborhood.
It's street level.
Yeah, and like reading Luke Cage, Power Man, and Iron Fist. That stuff was like Hell's Kitchen, New York. And they're fighting gangsters and thugs, and occasionally Electro might appear, it was like that kind of stuff. I like that. I like the grassroots of it all. But when things started getting too huge, it was like, I can't keep up with this. This is silly.
Yeah, I agree.
It was too much.
Well, it's almost the sort of same problem they have with the Avengers. It's like you've got these like superpowered beings running around, and then you got Black Widow who just runs around and punches people, and then the other guy who's like bow and arrows.
And then at the same time, the Avengers and the New Mutants were coming out, but then there were. The whole concept of the mutant was coming out, so that was kind of like the old Nazi Germany concept, where it's like everyone was going after the mutant hunting.
Well, the idea of the superpowers is a 1930s sort of Superman thing.
So the mutant by this time was a concept through everybody's comic books at the time. So
because it's a convenient way after 30 years of doing they're superpowered, they're great beings, like they start to get to more of like. All right, so they're sort of enhanced humans. They're like evolved humans,
Yes,
a little bit more thought.
you needed an overarching concept of
like a worldview.
Yes, so it's kind of like almost like Nazi persecution, only in the mutant view.
Right.
So it's kind of they're using the tropes and the whole things and
it's the same thing they did in Watchmen and then The Incredibles.
Exactly. So I liked that as a kid. It was kind of fun, and
that was the whole thing with the Spider-Man too, wasn't it? Was that Spider-Man was roots level, local neighborhood Spider-Man. He had regular everyday kid problems. He still had to go to school and worry about grades and.
Yeah.
Which was that like a mid 60s, early 60s, like 63?
I mean, They've been up and down with Spider-Man all along,
Yeah.
And then there's so many reiterations of it, and the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the amazing Spider-Man, the spectacular Spider-Man,
Oh, well, those all like different like reboots, reruns, and stuff. Oh.
Even though it looked the same in the book, then they'd always add a thing. It was almost like they do with cartoons. Eventually it's like, at what point are you adding Scrappy-Doo here?
Well, that's the sidekicks and the villains, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, they're just trying to find something to get the kids enticed again. Because it was written in the 50s, and then it went through the 60s, and then your different time eras, and how are these suits trying to keep the kids
by the cynical 70s, man, comic books did not appeal to me at all. I'm like, this is shit this shit is nostalgia shit for 40-year-olds now, remembering it from when they had in their back pockets, riding their Schwinns with their goddamn playing cards in the spokes.
And I was never, and to this day, Superman was stupid. Stakes. Stupid. He had too many powers. Batman was believable because I liked the Batman because he has a humanity to him. He has foibles. He has faults.
Well, I like that the Batman started off as this 1930s noir detective sort of thing.
I like that.
All sort of shadows and smoke.
But cool. when you give a superhero too many powers, it's so dumb.
Well, that's the thing.
Superman was too much. Stop it. It's ridiculous.
He's omnipowerful. He's got all the power.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, in the Christopher Reeve movie, he flew backwards and spun the Earth backwards.
I know. It's like,
what?
Yeah, it's like, he's gonna throw a Volkswagen up in the air.
Honestly, technically, I think in the early Superman days, he didn't even fly. Remember, he could leap.
Flew.
No, he could leap.
Oh, leap from tall buildings in a single bound.
Right, he could jump over a building.
Remember the old one, the old black and white one I remember watching when you were just fighting gangsters.
Yeah, the George Reeves.
The George Reeves one. I kind of like that. That was all right.
Yeah, the old TV
That's
one.
how I always remembered in my head how I remembered it.
They kept it super street level.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially, it's a newspaper office crime beat sort of show.
Yeah.
It's Clark, it's Lois and Jimmy, either together or separately, digging into some story, and next thing you know, they witness some sort of murder, and now the mob's coming after them, and then Clark / Superman has to step in and save them, or whatever.
Well, and isn't it funny how that's kind of similar to the whole Spider-Man trope too?
Is
the
it?
Daily Planet.
Yes.
And it's like, using the newspaper as that's where they're finding. It's like I don't know. I don't know why these superheroes just didn't listen to the scanner at the time. I don't know, but they needed a newspaper to find their.
They didn't have a scanner. I don't know. When did police start? Well, I remember my dad saying when we were kids.
The scanner's been around since the 30s.
Like the police radio and shit like that? Yeah,
remember those police radios? You go over to we're going over to Uncle Eddie's house, and Uncle Eddie's got the scanner on in the background, and you hear...
Although, I don't know, man. You go back and you look at, Smokey the Bandit, and they're doing the CB radio thing.
That's CB radio. That's different than the scanner.
But the CB... Right. But the scanner, as you keep calling it, is a receiver picking up the locally transmitted...
emergency
radio messages.
So you'd have the desk
dispatch
lady dispatch would be going, we got a 532 on 10.
Right.
Please respond.
Right.
It would just be something dumb. And if you knew the codes, I remember, my uncle having a piece of paper laminated and it had what the code. 181 is a thing. That's what a 174 is.
I did that for a while when I first got on the internet.
Yeah.
I got on the Phoenix police scanners.
That might be fun.
Dude, it worked out really well one night.
Because Phoenix is nice and,
Yeah, and so you could bring up on a web page, you could bring up the sheet.
There you go.
So they'll be like, we're 1016, whatever. And that means they're grabbing food, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And so one night, I'm at this house. Me and my brother were living with this girl, Monica, that he worked with. And... police helicopters and searchlights.
Okay.
I'm out back smoking a cigarette. You see police lights and searchlights and shit. There's my house, the backyard, the other house, right?
Yeah.
On the next block.
Wow, like an
right
alien
there,
abduction.
right the fuck there, right? So I'm like, what's going on? So I go in, jump on the fucking, pull up the old police scanner on the internet.
Sure.
I got my code sheet, and so I could hear the traffic. And so what it was there was some high school kids having a party on the next block over. And one of the neighbors called the cops because of the noise, or the cars, or the too many people spilling out of the streets or something. Cops show up, shut down the party, everybody go home. So the kids were dissipating from the party. Neighbors started calling the cops that there were packs of teenagers roaming through the neighborhood. So the chatter was, oh, we just got this call, oh, there's roving packs of teens moving through the neighborhood.
I mean, we all ran from
the cops like, yeah, we just raided the party.
Helicopters. I mean, I would have shit my pants if I saw a helicopter in the 80s,
right?
Or the 70s, 80s.
Yeah, well, this was like North
helicopter.
Phoenix or something.
Jesus Christ! I'd be scared shitless.
But it was real interesting that there was a thing going on, and I was like, I wonder what's going on. Got on the scanner. And I heard what the hell was exactly going on.
I thought in like 2000 something or other, the police stopped using. They went internet based. They don't even use the scanner, the frequency.
Well, that's the whole thing. That sort of
scanners are obsolete now.
Is working on open frequencies,
yeah.
So it's listening to the scanning stuff. Kind of like in the way that when the cable first came out, it was just you had the cable TV. You can run a splitter. You can run the cable TV anywhere. Then what they started doing is digitally encoding everything.
Yeah.
So then you couldn't just jack the cable TV because you need that converter box to turn it back into actual signal. In the same way with the scanners, where I think it's all digital transmissions now, and so you can't just have an antenna receiving.
No.
You got to have an authorized unit.
Did you have relatives or anything that were, or go to anyone's house who was the scanner people? You had scanners going? I always liked the sound. I always found it weirdly comforting. I don't know what that is.
We had a family friend who lived down in the Pittsburgh area. He was a volunteer fireman.
Oh, there you go. So he probably had the fire station frequencies on.
Yeah. So it was always going on quietly in the living room.
Yeah.
And there were times he'd be like, just like, I don't hear anything. But he was listening in the other room. Like,
right.
Quietly,
Yeah, I remember my uncles and cousins. They had a weird way of, they could talk to you and everything like that,
hear,
and then they just stop.
Everything would be fine. Yeah, if they hear
Did you hear that?
If they hear code 5, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, they knew that. Yeah. So. Yeah, I always found it comforting though. It was all right. Listen. Oh. What do you got? A noisy fucking.
Well, that's my ice chamber. I couldn't see it because of the sunglasses.
Oh, I see.
Because of the fucking bright light.
All right.
And the big city.
And the bright city. All right, you fill up your thing. I'm going to give these guys a little couple factoids here before we're getting to 1980. 1980's on the way, kids. Wayback Machine's warming up. I got the engines fired up.
Yeah, we're going to blow through 1980 real quick here, so we're not going to take a whole shit ton of time.
So what do we want? Did I ever tell you this? Here's some. See, I got a thing. I just saved this for random factoids for if we ever want it. The space between your nostrils. You know that little thing? I think that's called a columella nazi. Huh.
Makes sense. The line under your nose.
Yeah.
In Latin.
Here's another one. The condition of finding it difficult to get out of bed. We all know that one. It's called dysania.
Really?
Yeah.
I call it Monday morningitis.
Yeah. I call it a case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or yeast. Well, we know that one. Illegible handwriting is called griffinage. It's from Gryffindor. Yeah, I got a whole ton of them, but I'll save them for later. So, okay, so you're done filling up your drink? You good? You fill up your drink? What are you drinking there? What do you got there? Root beer?
Yeah, some hires.
Some A&W root beer. I don't know what a glass of root beer would be kind of gross right now. I feel like it'd be super sugary and gross.
Yeah,
like, bleh.
It is. You know what's like that, but like over the top sugary and gross? Cream soda.
Yeah, conceptually it sounds like a great idea. Like right now I'm craving one, but it would be too much.
With a scoop of ice cream mixed in.
Shit.
It's too much.
Yeah, it is over top though. You're right. It's way too much.
It's way too much.
It was probably good when we were 9, but yeah, as an adult,
it's like 6 and you get all cranked like Halloween, like eating all the candy and then fucking drinking a couple cream sodas.
Yeah, eating candy and then washing it down with root beer
my
cream
stomach
soda.
hurts. I'm like, wonder why.
All right.
All right, you gonna throw some facts at us? You want me to go ahead and hit this shit?
What do we got here? Let's see, just a little. Oh, I got the Saturday morning grid. We'll save that. I like Saturday morning grid. That's always a good one. All right. Well, we got some randos. What's happening? Well, it's 1980, guys. So guess what's gonna happen here? The year starts off pretty bad. Assassination of John Lennon.
No.
Yeah, that's what it says.
That's completely incorrect. When do they say it
Oh,
happened?
it says the event occurring at the end of the year. I'm sorry.
Thank you. December 8th, 1980. Same day that Dimebag Darrell was killed.
Really?
Yeah, December 8th.
That's weird. Must be something astrologically speaking.
It is weird.
All right, 1980 Summer Olympics were a big deal. Now, I don't know if you remember.
L.A.
The Summer Olympics, which ironically, we're about to have an LA Olympics here in a couple years, aren't we?
Are we?
Yeah, I think it's LA.
Okay.
Weird.
It's been a long time.
So here we go. I don't know if you remember this. In 1980, like you'd go into a Burger King and they would have like the Olympics everywhere. You know, or it'd be on every billboard.
Official Olympic sponsor.
I feel like it was next to like toys and Star Wars and toys and things that were happening. The Olympics were mass. Like it was on every billboard, on every the logo. I felt like it was the first time as a young kid I remember getting hammered with it, going, "Wow, this is sensory overload."
So they do the Summer Olympics every 4 years, right?
Sure.
They do the Winter Olympics every 4, and so it's like,
But it's staggered?
Summer, and then it's winter, and then summer. I'm not sure. I forget. I used to know this at one point. But the Summer Games are like 4 years apart.
Yeah.
So we had done the Summer Games in '76. That's when Bruce Jenner won all those medals.
Yeah, our guy from Erie. Well, Edinburgh, but...
Who?
Oh, you're talking Bruce Jenner. I thought you meant the wrestling guy. Bruce Baumgartner.
Baumgartner.
Yeah.
Was that '76?
I think no, he was 80. I think he was in the 80s.
Yeah. So, but we did a lot of stuff in '76 Olympics. People were riding high on it, so they were excited for the '80s.
Maybe that's it.
Because '76 was somewhere else. I don't know. Was it Munich? No, it was '72. Where was it in '76?
We have it in the files back there, but you're right.
But '80 was going to be in LA, and it was going to be a big deal. And they built the whole stadium for it, and all this sort of stuff.
So it's everywhere. So, yeah, so America's juicing for another injection of that dopamine drip of rah, rah, rah sports.
And cable TV is making big inroads at this point. So for probably NBC had the Olympics.
But the Winter Olympics were here in the United States. This 1980.
Lake Placid.
Yeah. 1980 were held in Moscow, Soviet Union.
What?
The 1980 Summer Olympics were held in Moscow, Soviet Union.
No, the Winter Olympics.
No, the summer were in Moscow. The winter. I don't know.
What?
That's what it's telling me here.
But you're saying 1980 Olympics in LA. It's not.
Well, I don't know about LA.
It's not Winter Olympics in LA in 1980.
Because here we go.
We have no idea what we're talking about.
I know, we're idiots, but that's all right.
Every time I talk, Rum listens to the podcast. He's like, every time I see him, he's like, "You guys don't know what you're talking about."
No, we don't. That's the beauty of the show. Yeah, the well-known miracle of 1980's Miracle on Ice, pivotal moment in the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, New York. Oh, okay. This semifinal game, the United States Olympic hockey team, consisting of college and minor league players, stunned the world by defeating the heavily favored Soviet Union 4-3.
Yeah.
And here's why it's a miracle, because we're the underdog, blah, blah, blah. The upset, the college play. Okay, the upset, the game was a complete upset with the U.S. team pulling off a victory against all historical significance because the Cold War, we got that. Al Michaels, remember Al Michaels? He's still around. He made the iconic call, "Do you believe in miracles?" He was the one of, Al Michaels. So, here we go. The USA team went on to win the gold medal 2 days later in hockey, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, that's what it said.
1980 may have been the year that they had Winter and Summer Olympics in the same year. I'm not sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because they were definitely 1980 Summer Olympics in LA. I remember that.
Yeah.
And it was definitely the 1980 hockey thing. Mm-hmm. And that was Lake Placid, New York. I remember that. So maybe that was the thing, was in 1980, we had the Olympics in America, in LA, and then upstate New York, summer and winter.
I don't know, yeah.
I don't know either. Why are we talking about this?
Yeah, let's move on. Pac-Man was huge. We got Pac-Man. We got shopping mall cultures, burbling, and fashion trends. Remember you were talking last week, the 79, the jazzercise?
Yeah.
Jazzercise now is everywhere.
That was the thing.
And it's tainting the women's fashions.
Yeah, it started off just as this weird thing on Showtime, and then like Jane Fonda started doing it or whatever. Right? Wasn't that the thing that she did? She got into the whole aerobic fitness.
Yeah, it was just a multi-thing.
Video instruction shit.
Well, that's why it came huge, because not only was it fashionable, the VCR.
I was just going to say, the VCR was starting to really gain traction around this time. They were really coming down in prices, like $250 or something like that.
Right.
So it became affordable that, because it was probably maybe around, I mean, because we had, first VCR was one of those big chunky ones.
Yeah.
Like you hit eject and the thing would ka-chunk, you know.
But I could see like housewives buying, every household probably had a jazzercise video because mom and the younger daughter or sister are probably doing their jazzercise in front of the television with Jane Fonda workouts and all that or hooting and hollering, and then and then dad's watching it when no one's looking because it's kind of hot. And then,
well, hey, the spandex and the leotards are
yeah. So, and then the athletic wear becomes a big thing. So it's leaking into pop culture everywhere. And then, of course, the consumer VCR, the Betamax, blah, blah, blah. All right, here we go, though. Well, when we get into music, the compact disc is making an appearance, but it's not quite ready yet. And here's one thing that's... Now, you and I talked about this before. Before MTV comes out in 1981.
August.
We got another year to go. But everyone knows videos because we're seeing videos. And I don't know about you, but I remember being young, and it's 1980, and I remember seeing like Friday night videos, or they'd be on like HBO had Video Jukebox.
Was that HBO?
I think it was HBO, but it was on...
Or was it TBS?
Well, they might have had a different version.
USA had Night Flight.
Yeah, USA had the Night Flight, the Video Jukebox, yeah. But videos were everywhere. So my point being is we were starting to see like, oh, there's that Billy Idol video. Oh, there's that weird Cyndi Lauper video. Well, there's the Cars.
In 80, a lot of these videos that you're mentioning here weren't made yet. Those albums weren't out. Mostly at this point, these were sort of 70s bands that had the foresight. And a lot of that was actually Mike Nesmith from the Monkees. He started a company called... Pacific Digital Video. Mike Nesmith from the Monkees basically invented the idea of the music video. That's what they were doing to some of the early Monkey stuff.
Speeding up the camera.
Well, no, the idea of the short promotional film to specifically promote the song,
which is genius in its own right, you know.
So music videos were around, and you get things like, because remember early MTV days. Think of the videos that we saw all the time. Those Tom Petty, Stevie Nicks videos, those performance ones, things like Aldo Nova Fantasy, of course, all the old 60s stuff. Black Sabbath performing live from some TV studio.
But they'd be like leakovers, like a live performance
Hendrix
on like
stuff.
Midnight Special. It'd be like Kiss on Midnight Special, or it'd be like, oh, here's like Chic performing, on American Bandstand, type situations.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's like television stuff. There weren't many specifically made music videos, music promotional films, as they were.
Yeah, when they didn't have a scenario,
Well, nobody had scenarios on those. I think, boy, who started really putting the storylines on the music videos?
The first one that dawned on me was like, because the Tom Petty Refugee, when they're all dressed up like post-apocalyptic world, that one
just got lucky.
Huh?
Just got lucky.
Was that it? Yeah, that seemed it.
Refugee is just them in that black studio like the Stevie Nicks.
Oh, right. That was kind of like that was just them playing in a room.
Just got lucky. It just got lucky.
Yeah, so that had a concept. So then I'm seeing little things like that. But some of the British ones had mild concepts,
Yeah, they were sort of like early abstract concepts like that. If you watch like the first MTV video, Video Killed the Radio Star, or Pop Music by M, or even I Ran by Flock of Seagulls.
Right.
It's just sort of weird abstract stuff where they just have girls with like weird hairdos and like weird makeup scenarios.
And like guys like mixing test tubes, and then he's like holding a radio, and then he's like dancing in the kitchen. And it's like just random.
It's very film schooly sort of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. But I know for a fact that you get like that Russell Mulcahy, who was directing those Duran Duran videos.
Yeah, those were big. Those were like movies.
Yeah, because he went with them down to the Bahamas, and they shot all the shit that they cut into like 3 or 4 music videos for Rio. Yeah. Like Rio, Hungry Like the Wolf.
Yeah, those were epic. Those were cool.
Yeah, it was sort of a fucking, hackneyed Raiders of the Lost Ark scenario. It's like Simon Le Bon in a fucking, fedora going through the jungle, like whatever. But
Right.
it gave the idea of some sort of
exactly.
Remember that Motel song, Only the Lonely, the video? It was some
That was
sort
kind
of
of
like
noirish, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like noirish, like some guy in a trench coat and a hat and sunglasses, and it's like
and she's
shadow
like talking
and light.
on the phone. He's smoking a cigarette in the dark under a light.
Yeah, that's started to get into like,
Right.
like story-ish sort of mode,
Yeah.
or
So that shit was brewing, but MTV. So next week we'll get to the MTV explosion because it's going to change everything, how we talk about everything, because pretty much that changes music. Because from here on, when you and I talk about music up to this point, it's been radio.
wait, I can't get it out of my head. You remember that goddamn Rod Stewart music video, Infatuation?
Oh, I don't know the video, and I probably know it if I saw it. Infatuation. I know the song.
Where he's like spying on some chick in a swimming pool because he's got like a camera with a long lens in a video, and then at one point this fucking beefy tough guy knocks on his door and punches him in the face for spying on the girl, and you never know quite why he's spying on the girl, whether he's just a pervert or he's some sort of private eye or something.
Yeah. Or he's just suffering from a lonely heart.
That was the thing. It was like those music videos,
It's his loneliness.
Those early quasi storylines, they were so abstract you didn't know what the hell was going on.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
sort of fun.
Yeah. Or like a Rick James video where it'd be like, oh my God, what? They're hehookers? he's got a fur coat. He's getting in a car with a bunch of hookers.
It's
This
like
is
the Rick
great.
James videos look like it was literally like Rick James got back from the club, turned on the lights, they all did a bunch of coke, and they started making films.
Yeah.
It's like him and like 3 chicks he picked up at the club.
Yeah, and they all look like they're fresh out of a 70s disco, and you go, wow.
Yeah.
I got to be this guy.
Because they are.
Yeah, so things are burbling. There we go. Okay, of course, we'll talk about the video games, the 80s, the stand-up video games were a thing. Now, here's the time. It's almost, and I remember this time.
This is post-Atari. Atari came in like 78.
Yeah.
It was huge. 79. By 80,
But now we got Pac-Man machines.
it was starting to die off.
Yeah, but the Pac-Man, the video games, and even the pinball machines are kind of losing
Because
favor.
Atari 2600 is fucking terrible.
You're right. So kids want more, but it's also these standalone video games. Everyone's like pumping their quarters into it and going to arcades and stuff like that.
Arcades were huge.
I remember roller skating. 70s, we roller skated every Friday night. Well, guess what I was doing? I'd put on my roller skates and I'd shuffle my way over to the fucking Pac-Man machine.
Oh, yeah.
And all night play Pac-Man. I didn't even roller skate. And I noticed all my friends were doing the same. None of us were roller skating anymore.
Well, the thing
we were
was,
leaving the wooden floor.
the roller skating thing was a late 70s thing.
Yeah.
Roller boogie, roller disco, all that sort
And
of
the
shit.
disco music.
Like I said,
was
go
dying
watch that
out.
movie with Linda Blair. It's emblematic of it, And so the roller skating places were fucking all over. But that was not our generation. We, like you said, went to the roller skating places because it was just a place to hang out without the parents. You could go and you could tell your parents, oh, we're going to the roller skating rink. And they drop you off there.
Yep.
And you could hang out there for a couple of hours, meet
Eat
a chick
a hot
there.
dog. Yep.
You could eat pepperoni balls, 3 for $1.
Watch the older kids smoke, stare at women,
Yeah,
and play
like-
video games.
Yeah, and I remember when we first started going, we would roller skate, but then it got to the point where it was like, why? What am I going to do? Spin around in a circle?
Yeah, I'm not that good.
Yeah, and then you just
Yeah.
go play joust for like 90 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Do they have a pool table or air hockey they always sort of had?
Yeah.
By our generation, those 70s roller skating rinks were half rec center.
They kind of felt more rec center. Yeah.
Yeah, because they totally had like the snack bars were cranking.
Yeah.
Like-
And the older kids were doing their thing, and then we were kind of doing the younger kid thing. So but we were all together.
Yeah, because then a couple years later, we were using the skating rinks as those were the places we played our first gigs in bands and shit.
Because they were empty then.
Because they were empty. No one was fucking going to the skating rinks by then. It was so 70s that it was totally passe.
Yeah, and MTV hadn't come out yet, so kids were looking for things to do. You could tell people were floating, and something was burbling in the air, and the energy.
The mall.
And the mall, yes.
The mall was the fucking cool place to be because you started to get the cable TV coming in and national advertising. So this is also coming out of late 70s designer jeans.
Yeah.
So they would advertise some hot jeans brand and the whole nation would see it. And everyone would run to the same mall with the same stores and buy those fucking jeans. We all had the leather store, you got the music store, you got the McCrory's, the 5 and dime sort of store. The mall was packed with everything. And this is back before the internet. So if you wanted to see what was out there and shit, you go to the fucking mall because that's where the stuff is. And our mall had like these department stores and the key at the ends. Like we had like 4 or 5 fucking departments. In department stores, man, they had
My dad ran Carlisle's. Yeah.
all the departments.
Yeah.
They had everything from ladies' underwear to hardware, you know.
Well, he did the phone, but my dad was a buyer, and he would like literally, he would go to the Orient like twice a year, come back with a clothing line. I remember one of his claims to fame, he was around 1980, he brought Britannica jeans to the area. We were the first, we were the first to test market Britannica jeans in like 80.
That's what I'm saying.
Remember those jeans that had the British flag on the back? Yeah, he was the one who brought them here from Seoul, Korea.
Is it bad for me to say? I remember there were lots of girls in school that wore those, and I always saw that British flag because I was always looking at their bats.
Well, no, I mean, because you're normal. We all did. I think I did too, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
the Sasson jeans, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There were so many of these designer jeans brands.
Yes.
Because this is coming out
Kids
of
want designer jeans.
the Jordache, the Gloria Vanderbilts. Like, this is a whole thing with these fashion jeans. And so you would go to the mall, and you've got your JCPenney's, your Sears, your Dahlkempers, and these are full department stores.
Yeah.
Kaufman's,
Yeah.
you know.
My dad was doing Carlisle's, but he would also too. He'd tell me
There were like 5 or 6 of them in the mall.
He'd go around. He'd go, hey, you want to go walk around the mall? And I go, why are you walking around the mall? He goes, I just like to see what the kids are wearing. You know, and he would keep an eye on kids and see what they're wearing, see what they're into, see what they're gravitating towards, and then come back. Some nights I'd stay with him after work. The store would close, and I would help him build the window display.
Yeah.
Like, so if it was like, oh, it's an Easter weekend, all right, so he's going to make like an Easter display. He had a thing, and then he'd make like the mannequins put on this new shirt, flip collar polo shirt, you know, and the sunglasses on it, you know, and
raking leaves for the fall.
you're right, and he would be like, oh, go get some grass out, you know, it'd be like some weird thing that we'd be making window, you know.
Which, once again, that's like
Mall
how
culture.
it was like in the 50s with the department stores. And
Yeah.
by the 70s or wwhatever, it was still kind of going on here in Erie. But
Before
it was
he
dying.
came back to Erie, I told you I was conceived in New York. He worked for Orbach's in New York City, and his exclusive job was the window dresser in Orbach's in 71, 72.
Is that a thing? Orbach's? I don't know.
Orbach, yeah, it was a pretty big department store. It's like Macy's of New York City, you know.
Right.
Big deal. So,
Yeah, 'cause
but
everybody-
mall culture was a thing, and he was into it.
Every place had these
he'd be
local
looking
department
around
stores.
what the kids are wearing.
Because they had the Macy's, Bergdorf's in New York City, like these sort of things.
Yep.
Saks, Fifth Avenue. And here we had, I know, Kaufman's was from down in Pittsburgh. Because the Kaufman family had one of those Frank Lloyd Wright houses. They had Falling Waters.
Oh.
That's the Kaufman family. They said Kaufman's department store. Carlisle's, whatever that was, you know, JCPenney or Sears. Dahlkemper's was here in Erie.
Yeah.
They
they're-
actually, they had their own building across from St. George.
Yeah.
And then eventually they moved up to the mall.
Yeah, Carlisle's was they were from Ashtabula originally, because we would go to, the guy who owned it, Ren Carlisle, we'd go house sit for him occasionally. And he had this house in Ashtabula, and it was like with a big mill and overlooking the river. It was pretty crazy big.
Nice.
I was a little kid, but I remember house sitting. But
Okay, we're digressing pretty
yeah,
hard.
we are. But still, fashion is the thing. Fashion is the thing, and
Well,
you had to have your finger on the pulse, because
with the cable
1980
TV.
things are happening. Like you said, cable TV, MTV, the malls.
And you got the national level, New York and LA, showing you this is what's new, this is what's hip, this is what's cool.
It's converging.
And you get down to like a third tier city like Erie, and you're like seeing what's going on
Yes.
in New York and LA, and you're like, that's the stuff, we want to do that. And
Right.
like I remember by this point in time, like they used to talk about like, you know, branding and being obsessed with brands and stuff. Boy, that shit got really drilled into us. I didn't even realize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was like back then, like if you, by the time we were like in like middle school, high school, if you didn't have the right brands that you were wearing or repping or something
Oh
like
yeah, you get made fun of. It's like
that,
you're
not hardcore.
no, but you couldn't
Just
wear
like
Wranglers.
you're lame, you're behind the times.
You're lame if you had Wranglers on, but
Yeah,
if you
you're
had
like a
Lees
farmer.
on, you're all right. You know.
Yeah, or the Levi's were.
Yeah, or
Levi's-
Jordache, you had money. You know.
Jordache for the rich girls.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but the brand, you know.
Okay, anyway, let's dive into it. We're doing 1980 now.
Go music, quick.
So, oh, you want to do music?
I want to do music. I'm curious.
All right, so the music one, this is the usual Billboard year-ending Hot 100 singles for 1980. I was not able to find a secondary list of cool legendary songs that came out in 1980 because everything I was searching was just coming up with songs of the 80s as a decade rather than just 1980 as the 1 year. So
I was having that issue a little bit too.
So anyway, let's go through the top 100 songs of the year. It's very interesting. Things are sort of changing. Number 1 song of the year, Call Me, Blondie.
Call Me, yeah.
Big song. I loved it when I was a kid.
And Blondie hits all the demographics. She the punk rockers. She hits the strong female thing.
She hits
the
new
New York
wave.
City vibe. She hits the disco vibe.
The new wave.
Hits the early new wave vibe. Yeah, she hits all the marks.
Yep. Number 2, Another Brick in the Wall, Part 2, Pink Floyd.
Ugh. Okay.
Right. Number 3, Magic, Olivia Newton-John.
Oh yeah. She was a big deal, but
This is
once
from
again,
Xanadu.
big deal.
This is from the movie Xanadu.
Oh, Xanadu. That was that roller skating movie, wasn't it?
Right. Once again with the roller skating.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a holdover from the late 70s.
Yeah,
Still,
but the Sioux are trying to cram the roller skating. They're trying to last-ditch efforts to save the roller skating.
well, because shit's still in the pipeline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that Xanadu movie was shot before she did Grease.
Oh, but they released it later, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, probably because she got big on Grease and it's like, hey, we got this one in the archives. Let's re-release it.
And they're like, this thing's garbage. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But I loved that movie when I was a kid and it was on and shit. Number 4, Rock With You, Michael Jackson.
That's a good one.
Off the Wall.
Arguably, I loved Off the Wall.
Yeah,
I think
Off
it's
the
his
Wall.
best album.
I do too. There are like 3 or 4 songs on that I'm like, that's a fucking jam.
That is a jam.
Do That To Me One More Time, Captain and Tennille. Captain and Tennille I remember being huge when I was like fucking 8, 9, you know.
My parents liked them.
Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Queen.
Of course.
So Queen's at number 6 for the year. It's not bad. Coming Up by Paul McCartney. Could not identify that song. It got a gun to my head.
Oh, yeah, I know that one, yeah.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, come on, yeah. Once again, Paul McCartney and Wings. Wings were big when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I think I knew that more than I knew the Beatles, weirdly enough.
Oh, yeah, sort of, yeah.
I had to backtrack on the Beatles. Beatles.
We should make a band called the Beagles.
We should.
Do like retro 60s pop.
Wow.
Not bad. All right. Funky Town, Lips. Once again, I've said it before. I
Great song.
I think this was out last year. It may have just been getting traction now. That I heard that song like so much when I was a kid at the roller skating rink and shit like that.
Yeah, it's a skater.
When you think about it,
But it's built good.
it's just riff after riff after riff.
Is that Lips Incorporated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just wall-to-wall riffs.
Yeah.
That that's an earworm. That gets right in your head. And then you get that.
Yeah, because it was 70s, but then it had like a weird spacey disco. So it was like disco in space.
Yeah. That's
it
a
reminded
great
me
song.
of like science fiction disco.
I remember there was one point when I was like 11 and I was like, that's a cool riff. And I was like, that's a cool riff. Is that the same song? That's the same song. I'm like,
Yeah, it felt like 2 songs.
yeah. I mean, real good riffage.
Yeah.
I mean, just, yeah, good riffs that stick in your head. Still Rock and Roll to Me, Billy Joel.
Of course.
Bette Midler, The Rose,
All right,
from the movie. Escape, Rupert Holmes, the Pina Colada song.
Oh, it'd be like Peter Solana, yeah.
I guess. Cars, Gary Newman.
All right, in Cars. Right.
That's one of those videos that was early on MTV. It's sort of a performance video. There's not really any concept except other than Gary Newman might be an alien or whatever.
Right, and it sounded was new wave.
Or a robot or
it was the early start of new wave.
Yeah,
that was in the first wave.
Synthwave, yeah. Cruisin', Smokey Robinson.
Okay.
Cruisin'. All right. Working My Way Back to You, Girl, The Spinners. Obviously, this is a huge 50s revival going on here in 1980.
Yeah, but a lot of it was kind of
Smokey
like,
Robinson and the Spinners.
Yeah, there's this Motown thing happening.
Yes.
Again, resurgence.
Yes.
But is it through movies or something? Is it like, because a lot of Motown songs, like remember how last week we talked about 1979 had like Animal House. There was a lot of like Motown songs in Animal House.
Yes, a lot of 60s songs.
So maybe that's
it. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, because I know they're all still around. Smokey Robinson's still around.
Sure.
Spinners are still around. Four Tops, all that shit.
It's timeless shit.
Yeah. Lost in Love, Air Supply.
Okay.
Hang on, my throat's dry.
All right, drink time. Liquid Death.
Okay. Lost in Love, Air Supply. Little Genie, Elton John.
I don't know that one, but okay. Yeah, Elton John's always there.
Christopher Cross. He was killing it in 1980.
Yeah, Sailing.
Ride Like the Wind.
Oh, Ride Like the Wind. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ride Like the Wind, though. Yeah, that was everywhere. That was everywhere. I remember that being on the radio all the time.
Everywhere. That was in a movie for sure. Was that in like Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone and Rutger Hauer? Not Rutger Hauer. Oh, who was the guy? Wings Hauser. That was the guy.
Yeah.
If anybody knows Wings Hauser, fucking hit us up in the goddamn comments. You're a fucking rock star.
Wings Hauser.
Yeah, if anybody knows his face and you go, oh, that guy. Don't look it up. If you know, you know. If you look it up, you better study these old movies.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, man. Like, some younger people, they'd have to study all these movies, all these TV shows.
It'd be a lot of work. Put a lot of homework.
We just absorbed it as we went along.
Yeah, we were just bored.
Yeah. I was going to say, we were just desperate for entertainment, man.
Yeah, we watched it because it was there, not because we wanted to.
No. Yeah, it was always, you watch the best of the worst. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'll have to cut that out. Okay, where do we leave off? Oh, here we go. Upside Down, Diana Ross.
That was a big one, yeah. Once again, roller skate.
Please Don't Go, Casey and the Sunshine Band. I don't remember that one. Babe by Styx. Sounds like a Dennis D. Young ballad.
Oh, that's a slow jam. Yeah, that's like school dance slow jam.
With You I'm Born Again by Billy Preston and Cyrita. It's got to be some sort of movie that this soundtrack is coming from.
Yeah.
Was this like The Big Chill? The Big Chill was like a big movie in like 1980, and that had like a 50s
You're
soundtrack.
right, and that might have had a lot of Motown in it.
We'll have to see when we get to the movies. Might have been that. Might have been something like that. Where are we at? The Manhattans, Shining Star. Still by the Commodores. Did those get reversed? Was it Shining Star, the Commodores? Shining Star.
No.
No matter who you are.
Yeah, I know the song. Yeah. Okay.
Shining Star for you to sing.
I don't know.
That's not the Commodores?
Okay. I don't know.
I don't know. Is it the Manhattans? I don't know.
I don't think it's Manhattans.
No,
I think they fucked up.
Yes, I'm Ready by Terry DeSario and KC.
I don't know. Is that KC from KC and the Sunshine Band doing a duet?
No
Breakaway, trying to go solo?
Sexy Eyes by Dr. Hook.
Ugh.
Steal Away by Robbie Dupree.
Ugh.
That one sounds familiar. Biggest Part of Me by Ambrosia.
Ugh. Yacht Snot Rock.
Is that one? You take away.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, it's just Ambrosia. Yeah, that's just soft rock with Ambrosia.
AOR, album-oriented rock.
Ugh. Gross.
There was lots of it. This is it.
Guys. Huh?
This is it.
Oh, yeah. That
Kenny Loggins.
Yeah. That's Kenny Loggins?
Kenny Loggins, I know. You would have thought it was Michael McDonald.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
I thought, or Loggins and Messina.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Cupid / I've Loved You for a Long Time by the Spinners. Once again, 50s band.
Another Spinners song.
Yeah.
Weird.
Let's Get Serious, Jermaine Jackson. Well, if Michael's going solo, Jermaine's going to go solo.
Sure.
Don't Fall in Love with a Dreamer by Kenny Rogers and Kim Carnes.
Kim Carnes. She sounds familiar.
She's got Betty Davis eyes.
Oh, Betty Davis eyes girl. Okay, and then who?
Kenny Rogers.
Oh, Kenny Rogers with her? Okay, so Kenny's just,
Yeah. I think Kenny Rogers had a TV show around this time, like a variety show or something.
Sure.
So, yeah. 2 songs by Kool and the Gang. Back to back. 35 and 36. Ladies Night.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love Ladies Night.
Ladies Night.
That one rocks.
That's a jam. And Too Hot. Too Hot. Too hot, baby.
Okay.
Take Your Time, Do It Right by the SOS Band. SOS Band. I remember them being around. They were sort of disco-y, funky thing, weren't they?
I don't even know what that is.
SOS Band? Let's have to look into that. No More Tears, Enough is Enough. Barbara Streisand and Donna Summer.
Ugh.
Yeah. More Love by Kim Carnes. Here we go. Pop Music by M. Yeah. Talk about pop music.
Yeah, early MTV.
Shooby-dooby-doo-wop.
And that was stiff.
Right. London, Paris.
Yeah, that was very stiff.
Pop music. Yeah, but that was cool, fun. I mean, that's like new wave. When you heard that thing, you're like, whoa, this is new.
Yeah.
This ain't 50s Motown stuff. Brass in Pocket, Pretenders.
Yeah, it's funny how pretenders are still existing, you know?
Yeah. Which, you know, I think I love that Sex Pistols movie, Pistol, that series that was on Hulu, man. Fucking, the girl in there is Chrissy Hind.
Yeah, from Akron.
Let's see. Special Lady by Ray Goodman and Brown. Whatever that is. Stevie Wonder, Send One Your Love.
All right.
Second Time Around by Shalimar.
All right.
Cliff Richard, We Don't Talk Anymore. Cliff Richard was huge in England.
Okay.
Isn't that It's so funny how we don't talk anymore? Is that it?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
You're right. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't know it was.
Anytime I watch like shit from England and whatever, they're always like, "Oh, Cliff Richard." Like, I don't know who he is. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
Is he England's Bob Seger?
Maybe. Yeah, something like that. They loved him at one point. Stomp by the Brothers Johnson. Brothers Johnson, dope.
I don't know.
Yeah. So Lewis Johnson, bass player.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember that Starlix video instructional series that came out? They had Lewis Johnson on there.
Yeah.
He threw down some funk that like blew our minds. We were like, holy shit. Heartache Tonight, Eagles.
Of course.
Rocky Burnett, Tired of Toeing the Line.
Ah.
Oh boy, this has got to be strumming up that fucking. What was the goddamn John Travolta cowboy movie? 1980.
The cowboy movie?
Urban Cowboy.
Urban Cowboy, sure.
Mm-hmm. Better Love Next Time, Dr. Hook again. Him, right. Rupert Holmes, Against the Wind, Bob Seger.
All right, let's get into movies.
Yeah, I'm going to scan this real quick. Is there anything useful in here?
What about AC/DC? What were they doing?
Oh, yeah, 1980, fucking, yeah, it's on this list. Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap came out.
All right.
Fame, Irene Cara.
Fame was big.
Yep. Man, yeah.
That was a Broadway show.
A lot of this all feels like fucking late 70s prog rock shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Genesis, Misunderstanding.
Must be some I don't like all that. I don't like, which is now considered yacht rock, but I don't like all that crap. I think it stinks. I think it's bland.
Michael Jackson.
Bland white guys.
Off the Wall.
That's cool.
I love Off the Wall.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good jam. Heartbreaker, Pat Benatar. Now we're talking.
Now we're rocking.
Now we're talking. That fucking Pat Benatar early shit. 88. God, it's so good. So good. JoJo, Boz Scaggs. Whatever the fuck that is.
Lido Shuffle.
Tusk, Fleetwood Mac. Prince, I Want to Be Your Lover. 1980. Right. Charlie's Daniel Band in America.
All right.
Joe Walsh, All Night Long. Refugee, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
There we go.
100. All right.
Yep. All right.
So that's music. Tis what it is.
Kind of once again, you got the leftover roller skating music, but disco, hey, no Bee Gees this time.
Right, no Bee Gees by this point.
Disco's maybe letting go, maybe,
Yeah,
and people
definitely.
are thirsting for something new. TV's burbling, yeah.
Well, they're also reaching back. Like a lot of that 50s Motown stuff is still kicking off. I wonder if this was the time where they started to run those compilation album ads on TV.
Oh, by K-Tel, the K-Tel ones, where it'd be like, let's do it tonight, and then it would have like 7 disco songs, and then like
or
let's do it tonight, part 4.
Or they were doing like all the Motown greatest hits.
Yeah,
like you get the Spinners and the Turtles and the Four Tops and like the Turtles. I know.
Yeah, and it would have some flimsy title like "The Way We Were," Volume 7.
Then they started doing those themed albums and shit.
Right.
That was a little bit more in the 80s, like 84, 85.
Yeah.
Oh my God, The Way We Were, and it's like all like 40s fucking big shit.
Right.
Kiss me once and kiss me twice and kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. All right, let's do movies.
Sure. Let it roll.
Here's movies in 1980. I have not looked at this list. I do not know what is on here. Let's discover it together. Here we go. Top movie in 1980. Call it.
Oh, Empire Strikes Back.
You got it.
Star Wars.
Made 181 million.
Big and a huge everywhere. You couldn't get away from Star Wars.
Because the Star Wars itself was a slow build. Mm-hmm. Because back in the day, they only made a handful of prints and they toured around the country. So it took a while for it to get. They weren't doing the wide releases that much.
Yeah.
Because I remember Star Wars trickled down to get in that fucking Erie market.
Yeah, it took like 3 weeks.
3 months. We were way behind.
Were we?
I remember
seeing it in the theater, but I do remember waiting and everyone talking about it on TV, and then all the specials popping up, and even Siskel and Ebert reviewing it way before it even came to Erie.
Yeah, exactly. When I saw Star Wars the first time, I believe if I remember correctly, it was at a drive-in theater, and at the end, like we were already on cloud nine over Star Wars. Like this thing was blowing our fucking mind, and because my dad had gotten us the action figures, you know, and we were like, "What the fuck's this?" And we saw the movie, and we're like, "Oh my god, now it makes sense." Couldn't wait to get home, fucking get to the toys. At the end of the movie, then it fucking launched us into fucking lunar orbit. My mom was so pissed. She's like, "Now they'll never go to bed." They showed a preview for Empire Strikes Back at the end of Star Wars. So not only did Star Wars blow our minds, then they're showing the Hoth battle and shit. We were like,
Waiting. Yeah, we had to wait years. We had to wait a couple of years.
like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Because if it was in the drive-ins, this is sort of like second gen release.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, all right. So definitely got the Star Wars, the Empire Strikes Back. Number 2 movie of the year. You'll never guess it. Stir Crazy.
Oh, with Richard Pryor?
And Gene
Wilder.
Gene Wilder, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say Siskel. So stupid. All right. Number 3.
Side note, did Siskel and Ebert like Star Wars or not like Star Wars?
I have no idea.
I'd like to know that.
I think they liked it.
I think they
because
did too.
it's such a fun, engaging movie. Like you can't not enjoy Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Back to the Future.
Right, especially at that time.
Those are just great fucking movies.
In hindsight now, no, I could see not.
No, I'm telling you. You could
But
put
in
on
1980,
any
sure.
one of those 3 movies. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna get sucked in. Those are great movies.
Yeah, especially you're right with the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, that was like my brain was blown.
Yeah, but even to this day, like if you were flipping around on cable and you fucking come across Raiders, you're gonna be like, oh, it's
The first one, yeah.
It's quality, man. It's fucking so good, and it's so fun and engaging. Back to the Future. I love Back to the Future. That is, to me, a damn near perfect movie. I love it.
Really?
Dude.
I think Raiders of the Lost Ark is the first one.
Dude, it's not just me.
Too.
When I was in fucking screenwriting class, we broke down Back to the Future script.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's really well put together. It's a solid flick. I love that flick. And dude, you can't watch Back to the Future and not enjoy it.
No, it is enjoyable. You're right.
That's what I'm saying. Like Raiders, Star Wars, Back to the Future, those are always good.
Yeah.
I mean, in a different vein. Alien's always going to make you feel creepy.
But we're
It's such a
talking,
slow
yeah,
burn.
this is the rise of Spielberg. I mean, Spielberg is, well, George Lucas, but Spielberg has the hold on
Well, the thing is,
on movies.
yeah, the weird thing is, Spielberg did Jaws, and then he did Close Encounters, which didn't really catch on. It was a bit of a disappointment, And then they collaborated on Raiders. Huge, you know what I mean? It was almost like Lucas ran with it with the Star Wars up through the Raiders of the Lost Ark thing, and then Spielberg sort of came back and sort of got on board with E.T.
Right.
and started kicking it off. Okay, next up, Kramer versus Kramer.
All right. Our parents watched that.
Airplane.
Oh, Airplane.
Airplane.
Wow. I thought that was later, but you're right.
Airplane
That was hilarious.
originally was designed as a spoof of those disaster movies, Airport.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Airplane, because it was Airport, Airplane. Okay. But if you look into the writing of it, they started writing the movie. They got like 2/3 of the way into writing the movie, and they realized that this was actually a movie that they had seen before. It was a movie called Lost Horizon or something like that. Dark Horizon or something like that. Because it was Zucker Brothers and Abrams, right, were writing it. And so they're like, wait a minute, I've seen this. And so they went back and researched it. It was a movie. And they found the movie. And they go, holy shit, our script is exactly this movie's script. But it's done as a parody,
Of that.
So they go, what are we going to do about it? So they bought the rights to Dark Horizon.
Smart move.
Because it was a shitty little movie that nobody paid attention to. So they bought the rights for like, I don't know, something cheap, like $70,000 or something like that.
I remember the movie poster from Airplane was everywhere, too. The airplane cut and twisted up like a pretzel.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was a great visual. Yeah, they promoted the shit out of it.
One to have for a poster or for a picture.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic. Everybody digs it.
Okay.
Okay.
Did Meatballs come out yet?
Yeah. Number 5, Any Which Way You Can.
Oh,
The
part 2
sequel.
of Every Which Way But Loose.
Every Which Way But Loose is a sequel.
Wow, they're right on it.
They cranked them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Turing Clyde.
Right,
Because they had a hit on their hands.
The orangutans age quickly, I guess.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know. They probably don't.
And everyone, and Philo
Probably live
Beto.
to be 80. Yeah. Yeah, and Philo Beto. Yeah, exactly. After that, Private Benjamin. Goldie Hawn.
Oh, Okay.
Goldie Hawn joins the Army with Eileen Brennan as her DI. Coal Miner's Daughter, Sissy Spacek. Loretta Lynn story. Loretta Lynn biopic. I've never actually seen it.
No, I know the soundtrack because my parents played the soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh, brutal.
Depressing.
I'd rather watch the movie than listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeesh. Smokey the Bandit 2.
All right. Dom DeLuise in this one?
No, that's the third one where they go to Florida for the elephant.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's a circus involved. Yeah.
I don't know what happened to Smokey the Bandit 2. I actually want to watch Smokey the Bandit 2 because I forget what happens. All I know is that the Trans Am was updated to a 1980 Turbo Trans Am with the solid hubcaps.
Oh, okay.
I had a model of it when I was a kid. Moving on from that. Oh, Blues Brothers. John Landis movie, following up after Animal House.
Can I say an unpopular opinion? I didn't like it.
I mean,
I didn't think it was funny. I didn't find the Blues Brothers that funny. I mean, yes. I mean, I liked everyone involved, but it's just not a funny premise to me. I don't get it. What, they're two blues guys? They wear sunglasses and dance around?
It's a pretty weak premise, based off the SNL sketches and whatnot. Yeah, it's a bit of a
stretch.
Bit of a weak premise. I mean, it's probably I don't know. So, Blues Brothers versus Coneheads. I mean, as a premise.
Well, at least Coneheads, you had a little bit more room to play.
You do. You got some sci-fi built in. You got all sorts
Conehead. You could
escaping
really
the government. Yeah,
and the family aspect.
Yeah.
But the blues thing, because they're just destitute two blues guys.
Once again, it's a retro thing. That whole Blues Brothers thing is a retro thing.
Yeah. Are they spoofing the blues life?
The first season of Saturday Night Live, the musical director is Paul Schaefer.
Sure.
People don't realize that. The musical director of David Letterman's fucking
Paul
show.
Schaefer.
And the band was Booker T and the MGs, the Stax Records studio band from, I think, Kansas City or something like that. So, Donald Duck Dunn on bass, Steve Cropper on guitar, Matt Guitar Murphy, the horn section with Blue Lou and those guys. So that is what the band is in the Blues Brothers movie. So really it's just they were doing the music on the show, they would sing and dance and that sort of shit, so then they spun it out into a movie. Granted, bit of a thin premise, but a more solid movie than a lot of Saturday Night Live movies were for a long time.
Yeah, especially in those days.
Yeah, this is probably the first Saturday Night Live movie.
Yeah, because you couldn't do the B, you couldn't do the cheeseburger. Wild Crazy Guys maybe, but
well, talk about thin premises.
Yeah.
Okay, so Blues Brothers, Ordinary People. This is
Tatum O'Neal?
No, this is
Ryan
Mary
O'Neal?
Tyler Moore, Timothy Hutton.
Okay.
She's like the mom, he's like the son. I don't know.
All right.
Maybe Alan Alda's in it. I don't know.
Of course.
Popeye.
Oh, Robin Williams doing Popeye.
Yeah, that wacky Robert Altman Popeye movie, which a lot of people now online on YouTube have come around on that. Yeah. People actually like it now. Talk about a weird movie with a weird tone. I could not make sense of.
Yeah.
When this was supposed to be happening. Is this an alternate reality? Like
that's what I was guessing. Alternate reality.
It was so like just. It wasn't
other than
surreal.
They looked really like they looked like the live action cartoons. They did a real good job on the visual.
And even the town.
Yes, I just don't understand the story.
It is a very weird movie, but a lot of people like it now.
Yeah.
Because it's so weird.
It might be worthy of a rewatch, just say you did.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so Popeye. Oh, the Blue Lagoon.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's Brooke Shields. Okay. Yeah.
And Christopher
pretty
Atkins.
incestual. Yeah. But that was our first introduction because, I was a young kid and I remember Blue Lagoon. Wow. I heard they're naked in that one. I think I had to wait to see HBO. I had to see it on HBO when it came out.
Yeah. Yep.
But we all loved Brooke Shields.
Here it is, number 13, Urban Cowboy.
Of course
all
we did.
Fucking garbage shit that brought with it. Gilly's Bar, riding fucking mechanical bulls.
Misogyny.
Male
misogyny, bravado.
Drunken and abusing women.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here you go. Talking about abusing women. The Shining, 1980.
Okay. That was a big deal, though.
Marginally so. I mean, 44 million, not
huge,
not gangbusters, but it's a
good
Kubrick
date movie, I guess, at the time.
It's a Kubrick movie.
Yeah, suspense.
And I believe, what was Kubrick's prior movie to this one?
2001?
Oh, good call. Good call.
Yeah.
Good call. And prior to that was Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheech and Chong's next movie.
Wow, they're pumping them out now. Cheech and Chong are a big deal.
They are. This was the one that... Was this the one that they had the ice cream truck?
I get them all confused. This might be the debut of Pee Wee Herman in there, too.
Right. So Paul Rubens, so they all knew each other from improv.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Like, if you go back to the Pee Wee's Playhouse, the original one from HBO.
Yeah.
Who's the chick that he's hot for? Missy Vaughn?
Yeah.
That's the same actress who plays Charlie Day's mom on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She just died a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
So, yeah. She was great. But yeah, it's funny. It's like her and shit like that. You know, like Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Phil Hartman's Captain Carl because they were all in the Groundlings out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think they all knew each other from that. Yeah, I remember. So the first Cheech and Chong movie was where they go down to Mexico and they pick up the van that's made out of weed.
Oh, the van's made out of weed. That's right.
And then they come back and then they play a concert at a punk club. The van catches on fire and the smoke goes into the club. Everybody gets so high that they think their band's great and they win the Battle of the Bands.
Right.
That's the first movie. The second movie is where they get the ice cream truck and they're selling buds out of the ice cream truck.
All right.
And then
I might have to revisit these. I haven't seen these in years.
and this was one that had Stacy Keach as Sergeant Stadenko.
You're right. Sergeant Stadenko. Yeah, he was on the audio too.
Okay, also 1980, Caddyshack.
Okay.
It's sort of like one of these movies that was like a big thing, like to watch and stuff. It's very
Bill
70s.
Murray's a hot item. The original SNL crew is hot right now.
But it's not the SNL crew. This is the thing. It's not SNL. This is National Lampoon. This is basically the sequel to what's the college one? Animal House.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is basically the sequel to Animal House.
Yeah.
Now it's Caddyshack. And this was written by the one writer guy, I forget his name, you know, and it's got Brian Doyle Murray in it because Brian Doyle Murray and that writer guy wrote it together. So a lot of the character and shit is based off Brian Doyle Murray.
And Rodney doing his thing.
Yeah, that's probably the best part of the movie. That and Ted Knight.
Ted Knight's always good, yeah.
Judge Schmales. And those two together is like fucking really good. 1980, Friday the 13th.
Ooh, Hack'em Slash 'em, here we go.
So the original 3 slasher movies.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, no, I don't consider that one. That's it's
because that was kind of indie.
Yeah, that's 74. That's
okay. You got Halloween.
No, Halloween's Halloween. The original 80s slasher movies was Friday the 13th, My Bloody Valentine, and Happy Birthday to Me. Remember those?
No.
They were all sort of schlocky. This is the whole trope of like, you know, these 70s kids going off to have sex and then they get killed sort of thing.
Yeah, the blood and boobs.
It was. Brubaker.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some prison movie with Joe Don Baker. Who knows? Little Darlings. Tatum O'Neal, Christy McNichol, Matt...
Christy McNichol was a big deal.
Matt Dillon.
Yeah. Young Matt Dillon there, yeah.
Yeah. This is the one where they were like a hot, shitty 13-year-olds.
Yeah, they're coming off of like, Bad News Bears. Wasn't Christy McNichol from, you know? Bad News Bears was like 78.
It was Jodie Foster, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
But Christy McNichols was everywhere. She seemed to be in everything. She was on after school specials. She was, you know.
Yeah, she was.
You know, yeah. She was, yeah.
All right, Dress to Kill. Remember that one?
No.
That was Michael Caine, Nancy Allen, I think.
Okay.
It was...
Isn't the Invasion of Body Snatchers coming up?
All right, Flash Gordon, 1980.
Oh, we love this one. This one, I stood in line for that one.
The Elephant Man, directed by David Lynch, 1980. Remember that one, the black and white one?
Well, I've never seen it. Well, I know what
Really?
you're... yeah.
Wow.
I know what he looks like, yes. The John
Dude,
Merrick, the original John Merrick.
That's
yes.
a
And it gave me the heebie-jeebies when I was a kid, so...
It should. That's a kind of a dark movie, man. It's really well made.
Wait, are we going to gloss over? What did you say before that?
Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon. Why are we glossing over Flash Gordon here?
Because you want to get to Invasion of the Stupid Body Snatchers.
No, I don't. I don't like... That movie was kind of dumb.
It was.
Yeah, it kind of stunk, even though it scared me as a
kid. It was
kid.
dumb. The Flash Gordon was fucking pretty entertaining.
That was epic. I stood in line for that. I went to the theater. I saw it when we
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't see it till HBO.
Yeah, that was one of those ones my parents were going to see something probably like Kramer versus Kramer. We're going to watch this one. You meet us out here in 20 minutes when yours is over. And I was like, all right. And I waited in line and watched Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
And I was
juiced. Do you remember seeing like ads for the Flash Gordon?
I don't know how I discovered it. I just discovered it. I just kind of, I don't know why I was doing it.
Because I don't recall knowing anything about it until it was just on HBO. That's honestly, like,
really?
I don't remember shit.
They had I remember seeing the show poster, so I was like, wow, that looks pretty cool. I think Flash Gordon was from like, I knew it was like a remake from something
30s.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, this is a remake from something old, and everyone's talking about it. And it looks sci-fi, and it's weird and cool. You know, and the guy who looked, Prince Baron, who looked like Robin Hood, and then you had like the Eagle guy, and everything was just off the charts.
Yeah.
It was so many worlds colliding in that movie that I was like, wow, it blew my little mind.
And, Brian May and Queen doing the soundtrack.
Right. That on
just to cap it.
Yes. Because I was a Queen fan, too, and I knew that. I knew the soundtrack was going to be them, because I was huge into Queen when I was a kid. So, because the Another One Bites the Dust.
I just opened this beer like fucking women used to open tabs back in the day. Actually, speaking of 1980, wasn't it around 1980 where these fucking newfangled pull tabs came out?
These kind?
Yeah.
I think they're all kind of like the old ones still. I didn't remember these till like the 90s. That I remember.
You think nothing happened till the 90s.
Right.
It was like nothing happened until you got out of high school, and then you woke up and looked around.
That's pretty much it.
Jeez Louise.
Well, no, yeah,
it was
I remember.
In the 90s. When I was
a child, and then I was an adult.
When I was a kid in the 70s, when we were at the Oakmont house across from where Lakewood School used to be, it was those fucking pull tabs everywhere. We used to pick up those pull tabs and make chains out of them.
You're right. We'd make like weird necklaces and things.
There were so many pull tabs from beer cans all over the ground.
Yeah, because we'd take our we would collect beer cans and pop cans, and then we'd take the pull tabs, and we'd make a big long string of them and see who'd get the bigger string.
Stick them together, and you step on them, and squeeze them together.
Right.
Yeah, it was, we were junk feral kids.
Yeah, we were playing with garbage.
Playing with garbage in the 70s, fucking taking care of ourselves by the 80s, raising ourselves. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when you think about it, how gross that was, those are pretty filthy.
Welcome to the 70s.
I'd have no problem like picking up a pencil off the ground and like next thing you know, the pencil's in my mouth.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times
I chewed on many a pencil, and who knows where they came from.
Like walking to school and shit, and just finding junk on the street or whatever. You're like, oh, what's this? You stick it in your pocket.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh, wow, cool button. Whoa, cool paperclip.
Like feral scavengers in the 70s.
Because the 70s also, too, trash was everywhere. So on top of that, we were scavengers and trash was everywhere.
Because in the late 70s, it was hip to vandalize everything.
Yeah.
You couldn't have a wall without spray paint on it.
Nope.
You couldn't have a window that wasn't fucking broken.
People threw things out their car windows constantly.
Oh, littering was rampant through the 70s. Because that's when they started that whole anti-littering campaign, which worked really good.
Yeah. It did, because imagine if they didn't do it.
Dude,
the world was a garbage can.
It was a shit show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, God. It was bad in the 70s. Flash Gordon, Elephant Man, Bronco Billy, that Clint Eastwood one with him and Sandra Locke, when he's like some cowboy in a circus. Ugh. Caligula.
Honestly, I've never seen it. So
I've never seen it either.
Yeah.
This is produced by Bob Guccione Jr., publisher of Penthouse magazine.
Right, of course it was.
Starring Malcolm McDowell. They must have paid him.
They had to get a legit actor in there, or else it would be smut.
I mean, Malcolm McDowell was fucking slaying puss since 1970.
Yeah, he's probably hanging out at the Playboy Mansion. That's how he probably got it. He probably was hanging out at the Playboy Mansion. He was,
The Penthouse Mansion. The Penthouse.
Right.
Where are we? Okay, here we go. Seems like old times. I love this movie.
Don't know it.
This is the second of the classic Goldie Hawn Chevy Chase movies. This is the one where Goldie Hawn's actually...
You like them two as a duo, huh?
Well, these two movies.
Yeah.
What was the first movie? I never remember the name of it.
You said it last week.
Yeah, it was like last time.
Yeah.
It's the one where she's running from some albino guy and he's trying to keep her safe.
Yeah.
In this one, Goldie Hawn is married to Charles Grodin, who is the
Of course.
Who's the district attorney.
Of course he
They live in
is.
this dope house in L.A. It's fucking, I like the house. It's cool. Chevy chases her ex-boyfriend, who just got out of prison or something.
Yeah,
and the
or
cops
he's
are
just a
after him
slacko
again.
and-
Yeah.
She wants him to get his life together. That's why I left you.
So he comes to her for help. So she's like hiding him in the house. Charles Grodin's trying to find him. He has no idea that his wife is doing this. She's so kind-hearted that everybody that he's Charles Grodin's like a defense attorney. So everybody that he represents, he's like an immigration lawyer. Everybody that he gets off from a court case, the judge is like, you need to get a job. So she hires him at the house. So they have like 17 people at the house as like maids and handymen and shit. It's so funny, you know. Yeah.
I can see that.
I love that movie. It's a great movie. And it's got a nice little tone to it. It's cute. She's adorable. Chevy Chase is still cool. Charles Grodin is a great straight guy, you know, has a foil.
Okay, we gotta move on.
All right, Xanadu.
Xanadu. Yeah.
Love Xanadu. American Gigolo.
Oh, that was a big deal, yeah.
It was a big deal because of stylistically. I forget who directed it, but they did stuff with, they were talking about how in the 70s all the movies were like dark and grainy and gritty because they were trying for that cinema verite, that realism. American Gigolo, it's bright colors, 80s, like crisp images. Like it's the new way. And stylistically, this influenced a lot of shit from 80 through like 82. This got us into the 80s. It kicked the door open to the 80s and showed people what things could be in getting out of the dirt of the 70s. So American Gigolo was important. My Bodyguard, favorite. Nobody likes it. Nobody watches it. Doesn't matter. In Search of Historic Jesus. Fame. Came out in 1980. Altered States. Remember that one? Sort of a quasi-horror movie. Cruising. That's a movie about Al Pacino, I think, was an undercover cop going into the New York City gay clubs to try and find a murderer, something like that.
Okay.
The Octagon. Chuck Norris.
Oh.
Hardly Working. Comedy.
All right.
Windwalker. Honeysuckle Rose. Herbie Goes Bananas.
Ah.
Rough Cut. The Final Countdown. Remember this movie?
No.
This was a movie from 1980. It was the aircraft carrier, the USS Charles Nimitz. It goes through a time warp and ends up back in World War II time. And so they've got F-16s fucking taking down Japanese Zeros before Pearl Harbor. It's a great movie. Martin Sheen. I love The Final Countdown. The Hunter, Change of Seasons, Hero at Large, The Island, The Long Riders. It's like a Western with like all the actors who are brothers.
All right.
It's got the 3 Carradine brothers, the 2 Quaid brothers, that sort of thing. Prom Night. That's one of those slasher flicks. Oh God, Book 2.
Oh, George Burns.
Holy Moses. Dudley Moore. Remember that one?
All right.
Like biblical comedy.
All right. Well,
yeah.
that was a good run for movies.
Yeah, I just want to see if there's anything else in here. Nope.
No, we ran the clock of the movies again.
Yeah, we did. Oh, Mad Max.
Oh, Mad Max. See? Well, you should have led with that one.
It's number 80. I don't see it unless I scroll down to it. I got to get past things like The Formula and Saturn III. Mad Max, right in front of The Big Brawl, which is one of Jackie Chan's first American movies. Terror Train, How to Beat the High Cost of Living. Foxes, which is the other movie that goes with Little Darlings. Oh, The Big Red One. Remember the Big Red One?
No, I don't know that one.
Mark Hamill was in it. And
Is that the one where you've got his face all fucked up?
no, that's Corvette Summer.
Yeah.
That was almost a TV movie.
That's right.
This is a Samuel Fuller movie. Samuel Fuller is fucking full-on fascinating. There was a documentary about him called The Typewriter, the Rifle, and the Movie Camera. Man, this guy's fascinating. He used to make movies and shit. He made The Big Red One. That was where Mark Hamill was a World War II soldier. You didn't watch this?
Huh. I didn't know that. I don't know much about Mark Hamill.
I saw this movie like 20 times on HBO when I was like 9.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's a World War II movie with Luke Skywalker in it. Fatso with Dom DeLuise. Raised the Titanic 9 to 5.
Oh, yeah. Dabney Coleman.
Where the Buffalo Roam, which is Bill Murray doing Hunter S. Thompson. I have it on DVD if you're interested.
Really?
Yep. Huh. Motel Hell, Littlest Marker, Oh Heavenly Dog as Benji. The Mountain Men with Robert Redford. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, Rhodey. Remember that movie Roadie with Meatloaf?
Oh, the Meatloaf roadie, right.
Yeah, that's on here.
Vaguely, but I remember.
Number 96. Before Kagemusha. All right, cool. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I don't even want to look at it anymore. Nobody wants to listen anymore. Okay, so that was the movies. So a lot of interesting stuff coming out in the 80s, or in 1980, you know.
Yeah, movies are hustling and bustling. TV's kind of
Well, we haven't done TV yet.
Oh, my God, really? All right.
I'm going to blow through TV pretty quick. TV's pretty interesting. A lot of things are changing. Remember last time, you know, we were doing things like, you know, 60 Minutes came in, but really the sitcoms were freaking
right.
Pretty killing it with like Three's Company,
yeah,
you know, Alice, you know, all this sort of shit. The Jeffersons, they spun off to Flows. Okay, now things have changed quite a bit.
Okay.
Number one show is Dallas.
Oh yeah, Dallas is a big deal. Yeah, Larry Hagman.
Dukes of Hazzard's up to number 2 now.
How did Dukes of Hazzard? But okay.
It must be gearing up to that whole wedding or ending of the show or something. I don't know what. 60 Minutes is number 3 now. MASH is number 4. Love Boat's 5. Jefferson's, Alice. Show called House Calls.
Don't know it.
It was Lynn Redgrave and Wayne Rogers. Tied with Three's Company. Little House on the Prairie still in there. One Day at a Time. Real People, number 12. Archie Bunker's Place, which is the All in the Family afterwards.
All right.
Terrible show. Magnum P.I.
Magnum, yeah, we are a huge Magnum household.
Magnum kicks in 1980. Happy Days still hanging in there. Too Close for Comfort.
Ah, yes, that was a good sitcom.
Name every character on Too Close for Comfort. Go.
Oh, I can't. Too Close for Comfort. 3 Hot Girls. Then there was Jim Neighbors. No, there's the gay guy and then the 3 girls. Weren't Too Close for Comfort.
Henry Rush was Ted Knight. Nancy Dussault was his wife.
Right.
What was his wife's name?
I'm having a brain fart on the names.
I was supposed to say it was like Susan or Sarah or something like that. Anyway, and then there were the daughters. It's Deborah Van Valkenburg and Lydia Cornell. And they were Jackie and Sarah. That's what it was.
That Jackie, right.
Henry.
He was the cartoonist.
Yes. You do Cosmic Cow, and Jim J. Bullock was...
Jim J. Bullock, right.
Was...
I know, yeah. He was the...
Monroe Ficus.
Yeah, he was the... I was... He reminded me of Jim Neighbors. He'd play Jim Neighbors in a biopic real well.
Muriel. Henry and Muriel Rush.
Henry and Muriel Rush. Yep, that's the name, yep.
Yeah.
And Cosmic Cow was his character.
Jackie and Sarah were the daughters.
Yeah.
Jackie was Deborah Van Valkenburg.
I like that show.
Oh, the girls were fucking...
Yeah, they were super hot.
Yeah. Even the mom was fucking hot. Too Close for Comfort. Oh, Fantasy Island, Trapper John MD, Different Strokes, all tied for 17th.
Wow.
Laverne and Shirley down to 20.
Wow, they're losing steam.
I think 1980 was the year they moved to California.
Yeah.
That's Incredible.
Sure.
So we had Real People and That's Incredible.
Yep, we had that last week.
Heart to Heart.
Oh, yeah. My parents watched that.
I liked Heart to Heart.
It was all right.
It was fun.
Was that Aaron Gray from Buck Rogers?
No, that's Robert Wagner and Stephanie Powers.
Stephanie Powers.
Lionel Stander as Max. No, Max was the butler.
Yeah,
No, Max
Robert
was the
Wagner,
dog.
though. You're right.
Yeah, Max was the dog. I forget the butler's name.
Surprised they never made him a Bond.
Yeah, well, he's American.
Sure.
Chips.
Of course.
Facts of Life.
Okay.
Lou Grant, Knots Landing, The Waltons. Still.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where TV's at.
Not a lot of shift in TVs.
Although all the half-hour sitcoms getting pushed down.
They're dipping, yeah.
And, here's another noticeable thing. The top 4 shows, actually, out of the top eight shows, 7 of them are on CBS.
Ooh.
The only one that's ranking up there is Love Boat. CBS has Dallas. CBS has Dukes of Hazzard. CBS has 60 Minutes. CBS has MASH. CBS has The Jeffersons. CBS has Alice. CBS has House Calls. Interesting, huh?
I'm just looking at the CBS Saturday morning cartoon grid, and they got their same thing. They didn't really change too much from last week.
Okay, so that's me. I'm done. We did music. We did movies. We did TV.
Saturday morning cartoon grid. Okay, 8 a.m. Everything's the same. Super Friends. You got...
It's all rehashes at this point.
Yeah, Godzilla and Dynamite Hour. They're mixing Dynamite and Godzilla Hour on NBC.
I love Blue Falcon and Dynamite. I thought it was entertaining.
And then you got CBS is having the old Mighty Mouse and Heckle and Jekyll. But here's a new addition.
The 1930s fucking cartoon.
I know, they're grasping at that.
Oh, my God.
And then that's only a half hour, and that goes into Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Okay, but here's 9 o'clock. Here's the new addition to the Saturday morning lineup. Starting in November 8th was Fonz and the Happy Days Gang.
Okay, so at this point with Happy Days, we have Jump the Shark, because they started making, because Ron Howard left. They started making the show more about Fonzie.
And Chachi.
And doing character development with Fonzie. He started going to college, bettering himself.
Oh, it was all Fonzie. Yeah, you're right.
Because with that Jumping the Shark, they were starting to make Fonzie a superhero. Yeah. They were starting to have Fonzie do like Evel Knievel level stunts. That's the whole point of him jumping over. It was like a fucking above ground swimming pool with sharks in it in the parking lot of Arnold's.
I know.
It made no sense.
It was dumb.
It was
and he did it in a leather jacket and shorts.
Yeah, that's right, he did. The shorts like looked like his underwear. He was just taking his jeans
it looked like
off.
boxer shorts. It was ridiculous.
You can only afford one pair of dungarees back then.
Yeah, Fonz and Happy Days Gang started that. And then Bugs Bunny at 9, Flintstone Comedy Show. So those were your 9 o'clockers. Yeah.
They're rehashing fucking 60s Hanna-Barbera.
They are.
Oof.
Well, then it swaps over on ABC as Richie Rich Scooby-Doo Show.
I remember. Wow.
They blended Scooby-Doo with Richie Rich.
I remember that.
And it's still Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner over there.
Totally, those two are so far off. Richie Rich and Scooby.
Well, here's where it gets kind of all right. See, it's all that retro stuff up to about 10:30. Now, when you get 10:30, ABC's got Thundar the Barbarian. That wasn't bad.
I like Thundar.
I did too.
It was terrible, but I liked it.
And of course, CBS is still trying to push the all-new Popeye Hour.
Fucking dude, yeah. So you could clearly see that a lot of these TV executives had contempt for the viewers.
Yeah. And they just were holding on. But they figured, well, why don't we try this Popeye Hour since Popeye's into theaters?
You know, I got.
So they're maybe grasping on that.
Oh, that is true. But God, they're so terrible. Those old Max Fleischer black and white ones. Here's the thing I did want to mention. Oh, what was it? Fucking, I got confused with the Popeye shit. You threw me with the Popeye. Oh, 30s shit that they were still fucking peddling back then.
Oh, right.
We haven't come across or mentioned Our Gang, Little Rascals.
Little Rascals still held up though. I liked it.
I mean, it does in a weird, fascinating way because it's like it's actually like 5-year-old kids acting like grown-ups. It's weird.
Yeah, that one didn't annoy me. Actually, I kind of look forward to that being.
No, I did too. But we watched that back around this time and stuff like that. And that made sense. But boy, the shit like the Heckle and Jekylls and Mighty Mouse and the Popeyes.
Yeah, oh God, yes. Oh, okay, here's a new addition, 11 o'clock, Heathcliff and Dingbat.
Wow. Now, you know that Heathcliff's been on for a while before.
No, Heathcliff, I thought, wasn't on yet.
Yeah, that does seem about the time it came on. I don't remember Heathcliff being there in the 70s.
Yeah, and Dingbat. What was Dingbat?
I don't even know. Oh.
Cartoon bat?
Yeah, I think it was his friend. It was a bat that lived on a farm. I don't know.
Stinks.
It does. Lives in a barn.
And here's a new addition to CBS, the Drac Pack. Was that Space Ghost Drac?
Is that Drac? No, there's Zorak. Moltar.
What's Drac Pack? Is that a leftover from the Herculoids? Were they trying to Herculoid? What was Drac Pack?
It does sound familiar. Maybe it is from the Herculoids. God, did they spin off like 4 fucking shows from the Herculoids?
They kept trying to see who could lead the Herculoids. Like they were looking for a spin-off for the Herculoids, but none of them were tracking.
I know, they did that one with the rock creature first. That didn't go. And then it was the Shmoo show.
Yeah, the Shmoos, yeah. And now they're trying Drac.
It does feel sort of Herculoids. It sounds
familiar.
It's
like they put all their money and they're like, why isn't anything
But not
catching?
Brack. Brack is on Space Ghost.
Yeah, this is Drac with a D.
Yeah.
Okay, Batman and Super 7, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Fat Albert's still hitting it at noon, though.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, that's about that. That's about it. Drac Pack. Yeah, and then when you get into the spring lineup, that was the fall lineup. When you get into spring, everything's about the same, except for CBS tried to throw in at 10 o'clock. Guess what? The only change is they cut Popeye into a half hour, and they added Tarzan and Lone Ranger.
Dude, talk about 30s fucking bullshit.
Somebody got fired over that one.
This is 1980. We're on the edge of like synth pop and, cable TV.
And they had a whole hour of Popeye, but then somebody had the bright idea at CBS to go, you know what? let's throw in the old black and white Tarzan and Lone Ranger for a half an hour.
What a fucking asshole, these TV. You know these are cigar chomping old fat fucking ass
drinking
wipes.
martinis at lunch.
You know what I liked when I was a kid? The old cowboys
Kids
and
like
Indians.
the Tarzan. Yeah, everyone
God.
likes Tarzan. It's
Is that the
terrible.
old Johnny Weissmuller fucking Tarzan, the black and white TV show bullshit?
That's what I think it was.
And
with
then,
the monkey.
and then, yeah, I remember they started pushing that fucking
Jane was hot,
Silver.
but other
with
than
the-
Jane being hot, there's nothing there.
Oh my God.
Fucking stinks. Real quick, we're doing a list before
All
we
right,
get out of
hammer
here.
it. Top 5, bottom 5. What's our fucking topic this week?
Oh, you're going to like this one. 70s, 80s, TV sitcom pets.
Oh, wow.
Pets, yeah.
a
You
good
want
one.
worst or best? Pets.
Let's do best, and then the worst I think will be more fun.
All right. Well, these tie into what we've been talking about because it started with the 70s and 80s. Guess what? Best, I put number 5. They were dogs. Zeus and Apollo. What were they on?
Zeus and Apollo.
They were Dobermans. Magnum PI. Come
Oh,
on.
that's right. That's right.
They were fun. We like Zeus and Apollo whenever they come around the corner chasing Magnum into his car.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a detail I forgot about. I watched a lot of Magnum PI, but like I feel like I watched it early on when I was like 9 and 10 and first put a little black and white 13-inch TV in my room. You know what I mean? I used to watch Hunter, Magnum PI, St. Elsewhere, shit like that.
My dad was in the Magnum PI, so that was one he let us stay up to watch. That was a stay up to watch one.
Yeah, and it looked good, and it always turned out to be more boring than it looked like it was going to be.
Yeah, but it gave you a good view of Hawaii. Other than Hawaii
was.
5-0, I had no Hawaii influence.
No.
Yeah. So, okay, number 4, my best. I threw this one in there. Do you remember Elvis from, it was Crockett's, he had a pet alligator on Miami Vice?
The alligator.
It was 4 seasons he had that. He'd throw at fucking chickens and shit.
Yeah, that's right. He
there.
lived on his boat.
Yeah,
That was his
he guarded
security
his boat.
system.
That was his pet, Elvis. It was the fucking...
That's true. That was pretty.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
No, I had to throw a cat in there because we only had cat. I like Lucky. I like Lucky from Alf.
Alf.
He had to put up with a lot of shit.
I mean, Alf was truly judging between the quick and the dead.
Yeah, and he really, Lucky was a good sport about
If
it.
Lucky wasn't quick, he'd be dead.
Right. All right. Number 2, we gotta love Bear. He was the monkey from BJ and the Bear.
BJ and the Bear. Yeah.
He was good. He was sensitive, but mischievous.
Little
But he solved the
chimpanzee.
crime. BJ and the Bear.
Yeah.
Worthy of a good watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here's my number 1. I mean, I like this guy, but I didn't know if it would count on this one because it's not really sitcom, kind of. The sheepdog from Sesame Street, Barkley. Does that count?
I think that was later. I don't think that came in until like the late 80s.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. But I got some honorable mentions on the good list.
Well,
which
you better make one of those your number 1.
I might have to. What'd you do? Would you do
Wait. What was the topic again? 70s, 80s sitcom pets?
pets?
Best pet.
Pets. All right, here. Well, the honorable might make number 1. Would you go Fred the cockatoo from Beretta?
Maybe.
That's a good one.
Maybe that was really well known.
How about Flash, the basset hound from Dukes of Hazzard?
No.
No. Kind of boring. He didn't do much. Flash just sat there.
No. You're completely wrong. Flash was Jerry Reed's basset hound in Smokey and the Bandit.
No, he's Dukes of Hazzard. He was Enos's dog.
I think it's the same dog.
Or
from
no, it's
Smokey and
Roscoe Pete Co-Train
You're
had
right.
a dog.
You're right. I think it's the same dog. Watch Smokey and the Bandit. Huh. Fred. No. It might be the same dog.
Right.
They called him Fred in Smokey and the Bandit. But he was Flash in Dukes of Hazzard.
Well, basset hounds were probably easy to film because they weren't too erratic. They're pretty calm.
I wonder if it's the same dog. Because there were dog actors were hot, late 70s, early 80s. You had Benji. You had the fucking...
Oh, you had all kinds. You had the in-betweens. I call them the in-betweens. The Tiger from Brady Bunch. You had like Comet from Full House. You had Dreyfus from Empty Nest. You had Buck from Married with Children. Those kind of fluffy, housey.
Yep.
Tramp from My Three Sons. Those kind of fluffy dogs. We all
some of
wanted.
those aren't 70s, 80s. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
Or Bingo the Chimp from Abbott and Costello. That's kind of 60s though, 50s. I like chimps. See, I'm a sucker for the chimp.
Lancelot Link, Secret Chimp. You need to watch that.
I've never seen it. I know.
You need to look that shit up on YouTube, Lancelot Link. All right, we need a number 1.
All right, I would have to go. All right, let's go. Fred the cockatoo from Beretta. That's pretty good.
Good enough for me. Yeah, that was really well known.
Yeah, and that was iconic of the era. All right, here's the worst. Now I got some bad ones. This is where it gets controversial. Everyone hates me. I get hate mail. Number 5, I hated this one. It appeared in Robots last week. K9 from Doctor Who. Stinks!
You gonna call that a pet?
I think so. I had to because he needs double the hate because K9 stinks.
Okay.
I want somebody to lose their job over it. I want somebody to lose their pension over that character. The worst. I'm sorry. Flipper, the dolphin, stunk. That was the worst show in the world. And Flipper, okay, once you got past 1 episode, 2 episodes, it was like, it's the same fucking episode every time.
You know, honestly, it's like Lassie.
Well, that was my number 3, Dom Lassie. 2 and 3, so, or no, 4 is Flipper, 3 is Lassie. They both stink.
It's the same show.
Yeah, except for a different form. You're right, yeah.
They come running
Flipper
up.
Flipper is Lassie.
They do their thing. The people go, what is it? Oh, is it, old man?
Oh, and they got a curious little boy
old
who's going to take care of
fell down the well?
Yeah, and the curious little boy who's his best friend has to find his way in the world. Yeah, stupid.
All right.
Okay, well, these two, all right, I'll call this one number 2. Stinks. The Munsters, what was their pet? Spot the Dragon.
Spot the Dragon.
They had an animatronic dragon under the stairs. It was terrible.
Terrible.
It worked, didn't work.
No.
But if you were to compare it
honestly, I think they only did that the first season.
Oh, really?
I feel like they gave up on it. They hardly did that gag ever.
Yeah, well, here's another worse one. I guess this could go into it. Addams Family had Kit Kat the lion.
Oh, no, that was all right.
Really?
No, I don't know.
Addams Family Monsters, they stink. They both were terrible shows. I'm sorry. Everyone's going to hate you for it, but I think they stunk.
I like Addams Family a lot better than the Monsters.
Yeah.
We don't have time to get into Addams Family Monsters right now.
Well, here's number 1 I had for the worst. The worst show in the world. Gentle Ben, come on.
Oh, yeah, the stupid bear.
The bear.
Oh, my
The bear
God.
didn't do anything. They just wanted a reason to film the bear. Gentle Ben, Grizzly Adams, come on.
Is that the whole same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the stupid bear.
Bears, schmares, whatever. I mean, once you could see his picture in the TV guide and go, there, I got my fill of Gentle Ben.
Yeah, seriously. I remember that shit was around. I never watched any of it.
Oh, I don't know why we were watching it. Me and Chris watched it.
To the point where, when we were kids, teenagers, anybody with a beard, we called Grizzly Adams.
Sure. Yeah, because beards were kind of uncommon. Yeah,
beards were uncool, very uncool.
And no need to even mention. Honorable mention for shitty is Rin Tin Tin stinks. Fuck Rin Tin Tin.
Yeah, he was like Lassie with like less to do.
Yeah, not a lot of pets though. Pets did. See now, if I was to go 90s to 2000,
yeah,
pets galore.
Yeah, pets galore.
But 70s, 80s, your pets, and without doing cartoons, pets were kind of slim. I mean, they were just the family dog. That was just like I said. It was you had your Comet from Full House, the tiger from Brady Bunch.
Yeah, but you get into the 90s, it starts to be like a fucking I'm quirky. Look at like Ross with the goddamn fucking monkey.
Marcel the monkey. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Or the low key angle with like Eddie the dog from Frasier.
Right, that was the 90s one too. Right,
because they had Eddie like reacting to things. Somebody would come in and say something, and then they cut to Eddie, and Eddie's like, and then he gets up and runs away.
Yeah, and Marcel the monkey. I don't know what that was.
Have you watched Friends recently?
No,
the first season,
I haven't seen it a lot of years.
The first season is rough, especially like the first couple of episodes.
Yeah,
they are such self-absorbed douchebags.
Yeah,
and they're trying to make Ross interesting. Oh, he's a paleontologist, but he's got a chimpanzee. It's a fucking monkey because it has a tail. It's not a chimpanzee. It's a monkey because it has a tail. It's a capuchin. Desperately trying to make him fucking interesting.
Terrible.
Yeah, terrible. Terrible characters, terrible people. Yeah.
I know. Well, thank you for everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a long one. Hey, this is 1980, but 1981. We're okay. Tomorrow, next episode, we're going 1981, but let's gear this one. We got to trim down because we're getting into MTV, and I think our music list is going to change and the way we do things. So
the music list has I couldn't even find a secondary music list.
Yeah.
It's just Hopefully we'll find something for 81 because I know we've definitely got a lot of subcultures going on with things because I know for a fact we've got the whole metal scene going on, the whole
new wave metal,
new wave of British
punk,
heavy metal
you
coming
got everything.
Yeah, and that stuff is not on the charts.
Yeah.
Rap is starting up in New York City. That shit's not on the charts. None of that shit would be on charts for many years.
Yeah, so now we're getting into a lot of stuff. So we got to figure out what we're going to do. We're going to trim down. We're going to have to do some show prep and trim this shit down. All right. Shut it down.
All right, so watch the episode all the way through. Like it. Give us feedback. Send us mails. Recommend it to other people. Do the things. Helps out. Cool. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you next time. Later.